Hi everyone, welcome to another extra episode of Random Talks in the Star Trek series. Today we will talk about Guinan vs Q, and my guest today is Tommy of Trek Canon. Well guys, let me introduce you again to Tommy, one of my regular guests on this podcast. Hello Tommy.
Hello, Arenda. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm good, how are you?
Groovy.
Good. And in Star Trek land?
Star Trek land, that's the place I'm always at. Arenda, I'm always in Star Trek land. That's my life.
I know, and mine too, by the way. But okay. Today we're going to talk about Q and Guinan. And most of the time they are more like Guinan vs Q.
Yeah,
So,
Go ahead.
yes, go ahead.
Oh, I was let's say fears. I don't know, it's kind of a strong word, Arenda.
I don't think it's fierce. It's more like, and revenge is also the wrong word. It's more like they know what they have done to each other in a way, but more also like, okay, we are very alert.
Yeah, I would say that she's very cautious of the Q.
And of course, we have a few funny episodes with Q when where Guinan also is in, and one of my favorite is I think that one is called Q Who, and that was the episode that Q was banned from the Q Continuum, and he had no Q powers anymore, and he searched rescued of a refuge on the Enterprise D.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he went with Counselor Troy to 10 forward, and I think that is one of the moments again that he saw Guinan again, and she wanted to really sure if he didn't have Q power. So what she did, she took a fork and stuck it in him.
Yes, you did. And you know what? One of the things that I've always found fascinating about their relationship is that you're talking about the episode Q, and at the end of that episode, he made Data laugh because Data had an influence on him during that episode, right?
Yeah.
What I find interesting is that once he got his powers back, he didn't choose to go repay Guinan for that stab. He chose to just leave it alone.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered why, because he's basically the god of Star Trek. So if he doesn't want Guinan there, he could just snap his fingers, you would think, right?
Yeah,
but as far as everybody in like all of Star Trek, the only one that's been adversarial to Q was always Guinan. I was always interested in that mystery.
Yeah, but didn't they have a long history, even before Picard and TNG? I thought they had a history together.
Yeah, they did. They I don't know if they never really covered it in canon, but I don't know if she had met Q during her travels or if she met Q while she was on her planet from that whole Borg incident. I don't know. I've always been curious about their origins with each other because I don't know exactly how old Guinan is.
But I thought she met him on a few of her travels, but also what Q did to her species. In fact, Q murdered her species, and That's why she always had a grudge against him. And that's I think, in one way, the nice thing out of when we meet Guinan in Star Trek Picard. She is a very young version of him. And yeah, I don't know, it's just, personally, I don't like the time travel shenanigans. But I think having Guinan in a way of guiding and giving everyone guidance, it's okay. This is exactly like the episode with her in when they are going back to, I believe it's the 50s, 40s or 50s that they were there, and that was the first time.
Oh, in Time Zero?
Yeah, that they, well, Picard told her, well, we're going to meet, and you always have been a dear friend to me.
Mm-hmm. See, that's the thing. Here I go with Picard. All right, so in Picard, when Picard runs across Guinan, right, in the 2000s, right, she's a lot older than when we seen her in Time's Arrow, but the discrepancies between her wisdom and her attitude from Time's Arrow compared to her in Picard when they met her when she was older but younger than when Picard knew in Next Generation. I don't think that they did it. The consistency was right. You know what I mean? She actually seemed younger in the show Picard than she did in Time's Arrow, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, she was.
And and let's not get me mentioned on that astral projection power that they gave in Picard either. That's not gonna get into that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, the nice thing of Guinan is, well, I always find her mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it is just the race she is and what she actually can do in a way. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Let me say, I think we said that before in another episode. We have seen 3 Guinans in the whole Star Trek. That is the small girl in the episode when they all became kids.
Rascals,
I can't remember the girl's name, but that is the one. I must say she did a very good job of her being Guinan.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we have the Guinan as in Whoopi Goldberg, the Guinan we all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, of course, a little bit younger Guinan in Star Trek Picard. So, what do you think? What?
We have one more Guinan, the Guinan that's in the Nexus.
Oh, I can't remember that. What episode was that?
The Nexus that was in the movie Generations. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a long time ago. I watched that one, so need to rewatch that.
Yeah, but it's 4 Guinans. One stuck in the Nexus. The Guinan that's on the Next Generation. The Rascals Guinan. And the younger Guinan from Time's Arrow and from Picard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, sure do. You know what I found? So I don't know if you remember this, but it was a Voyager episode where Q had left his son with Janeway.
Yeah, I know. I love that episode.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember Q telling his son to basically don't piss off the Borg, right?
Mm.
And I was thinking about that. And I was always curious as to what would the Borg be able to do to whereas if they got pissed off, what they do to a Q. And I remember that they assimilated Guinan's species. So I wonder if whatever traits Guinan's species had, the Borg was able to assimilate, which is why the Q say don't piss them off.
Mm. Indeed, that's a very good question. I have no idea. I mean, never have seen it in Star Trek with her species being assimilated. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good one to think about of.
Yeah. So I do know that Guinan, you know, based on the powers or her abilities that they've shown in canon, astral projection, dimensional and time awareness, stuff like that.
Hmm.
I don't see I don't see how that would be a problem for a Q.
Hmm.
So she must have some kind of hidden abilities or something like that that can probably negate the Q powers, like she did in that episode. What was it? Best of both, not best of both worlds. Deja Q. When
Hmm.
yeah, when he was in 10 forward and Q raised his hand and Guinan put up that little hand symbol that she did in some kind of defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wonder if her species is the only species in Star Trek that has some kind of ability to negate Q's powers.
Well, the one thing I do know is that Q always have been uh, fear for her. Not in terrible fear, but still he was cautious around her.
Yeah, and not, he didn't even show that to the when he was battling in the Civil War with the Continuum itself. He didn't even have that fear. He was still still brazen and humorous and arrogant. But with Guinan, that was the only person that he was just like, hey, you know what? Let me do something other than snap.
Mm, mm. Yeah,
So
I think those in the years that we have seen Star Trek with those two in one episode, I think there was always a I don't want to say anxiety, but it is more like yeah, they are alert. They are they it's always in the back of the mind what happened, and I think that we have a lot of great episodes with them, and yeah, what is one of your favorite episodes with those two?
with those two, I'm gonna have to say probably the Deja Q, the one that you were speaking of, because he had a lot more interaction with them. And
Hmm.
she stabbed him with the fork. Okay, it's only two people that has ever hit Q. Cisco.
Yeah, or good Captain Cisco who
Right.
just said,
So
"Well, I
half
am
God
not
Cisco.
Picard."
Yep. Half God Cisco. I can understand why that punch worked. And then Guinan. But Guinan still was not fearful of it. Matter of fact, when he turned human, it was more contempt that she
Mm.
felt toward. Like, you know what? Like now, I'm just gonna bother you like you've been bothering everybody.
Yeah.
She had that was the only person who I've seen Guinan have actual contempt for.
Didn't she also, at the end somewhere, give him some human advice? And I always believe when Q didn't have his power and he had to survive as a human, that
Mm-hmm.
in one way there is still stick some of his experience about that, because when we see him in Picard, it's like more he is matured.
Nah, yeah, because you're about to. Oh man, don't get me started on him dying. Oh my God. Oh, they're gonna have a Q that's an immortal being die, no explanation, no why, nothing. Just I'm dying. Okay, guy. Then they must have forgot that whole sentence that Data said um in the episode where they had that little girl Q. I think her name was Amanda. Came on board and she didn't know she was a Q.
Mm,
And
yeah.
right, remember when Data and Picard and they was up there on the bridge and they was investigating her parents, and
Mm,
Data was like, "Well, they died in a tornado or something," which is not consistent with what we know about the Q. They don't die. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
to have Q die, like did that mean that just him is the Q continuum now mortal? Like, did that have anything to do with the Q that committed suicide? Like, there's so many questions around that to me that it was it's just strange. And then they didn't clear up anything between Guinan and Q in that whole Picard series. You know, like, oh, I'm not gonna do it. You're not
Well,
gonna have me rant in Picard.
well, the other thing like I said, there are some very funny episodes, also including when they are just alone in it.
Mm.
And yeah, what you say, there is one Voyager episode, and that was not with his son. It was the um, the episode that Q wanted to mate with Catherine Janeway.
Yeah.
And oh my god, that was so hilarious. And
I
that
think he
is,
attempted to for a minute.
I don't know, because it's Q we're talking about, and why would he mate with a human? He always mock the human.
Well, he mocks them, but he's always protected humans. He's done it. He's always done it in a real teacher moment, teacher like style. But whenever he's messed with the Enterprise, it's always been for a greater good. Even though while he was messing with them, they didn't, like it or they didn't see the purpose. But every interaction with Q, it was always a learning moment with him. And even in the later episodes, later in the series, Q whole thing was, "Hey man, you trying to destroy humanity, man. I can't let you do that. Here, go back in time, fix that." "Hey man, you making an anomaly that's anti-time. Go fix that." So um, even from the beginning, at kind of a far point, the trial, you know, um, he wanted them to be able to think outside the box, to go beyond, their human instincts. When he came back the next time, he's saying good in humanity and wanted Riker to join. So
Hmm.
even when he came back, having lost his powers, he learned something that particular episode about humanity. you know. So every time, even in Robin, when they took everybody back to Sherwood Forest, he was trying to get Picard to understand that he is capable of love with Vosh. Don't be
Hmm.
disregarding. So each time that he has come to, bother the Enterprise, it's been a teaching moment. Hey, y'all think y'all bad and arrogant and all that? Okay, y'all think y'all ready for everything? Okay, well, here's the board. Oh yeah, by the way, the Borg has been on y'all, messing up y'all outposts ever since season 1 or 2, and y'all didn't even know nothing about it. I'm gonna need y'all to go see these people so that y'all can at least prepare for them coming to the Alpha Quadrant. You know what I mean? So he's. I've never really considered him a villain. I've always considered him more of a dark hero. Yep. And I think
Yeah,
that's the similarity
I can
that him
understand
and
where you're
Guy
coming
have.
from. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but talking about the Borg, can you imagine what it's gonna be like if the Q will be assimilated?
That would be, let me tell you something. If for some reason, the Q were ever able to be assimilated, just one Q, the Star Trek would be over. A whole galaxy of Star Trek would all be Borg. Not fake Borg either, the perfect Borg. Hmm.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so? You don't think that if they assimilated the Q, that they would have Q powers?
I think they will have a lot more data and knowledge of different kind of species. I
They
don't know
would
if.
have eternal knowledge. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because Q, when he turned human, what they say, he had an IQ of 2,000 or some 3,000 or something like that. Um, and that's because he had a human brain and he still had that much information. So if they
Hmm.
were to assemble a Q, that is reality knowledge. They have all the knowledge that they want. They could do anything. Even if they didn't have the powers, they would have the knowledge to do
Yeah, that's
anything.
what I meant.
Mhm.
Um, do you remember that first episode when Q had no Q powers, and that he had back pain and he never uh, experienced that, and they let Dr. Crusher come to the engineering, and she started to massage him, and that was very painful for him, and I think she really enjoyed to give Q some pain.
Oh, Dr. Crusher. Oh, look, let me tell you, everybody. That's why they put him with Data, I think, because if they had to put him with anybody else, Q would have got beat up all through the whole Enterprise. People would have been beating Q up, stunning them, all kinds of stuff. That's why they had to put him with Data, because Data, he's not emotional. He don't care about all that stuff that Q did. Just let's do it. Because
Hmm.
yeah, Dr. Crusher, she didn't care. Guinan, look, if Guinan don't care about you, and she's the most empathetic person on the whole ship, Guinan has befriended people who's been court-martialed, been caused deaths on the wave team. She befriended Rolaren. All right, so
Hmm.
if Guinan could befriend anybody, like I've never met, like I said, I've never met anybody who Guinan had contempt for, and so if Guinan had that level of contempt, and she's the sweetest person I know, imagine what the rest of the ship thought.
What is really also Guinan is that she has a lot of knowledge.
Hmm.
And there was a point in Star Trek TNG that I was really thinking, okay, why isn't she the ship's counselor instead of Diana Troy? And then there was an episode that Diana Troy was losing her empathic abilities, and Guinan did that more or less to for the ship's members at the time. But
Hmm.
um, I think there is so much that we still can know and learn about Guinan because she is an open book at this point. The writers didn't wrote some kind of a backstory for her. Yeah, in Picard a little bit, but not that much. And uh, the most beautiful thing, for example, with number one, she has always been a little bit of mysterious, but they in Strange New Worlds they learning you who she is and what her background is, and I believe we are not done with her yet. So, but coming back to Guinan, I think there's a lot more stories to write about Guinan.
Oh yeah, as far as her being I always thought of Guinan like this. If you have a minor problem, go see Counselor Troy. If you have anything other than a minor problem, go see Guinan, or Guinan is probably gonna sense it and come find you and talk to you in some kind of way.
Yeah.
But Guinan, I'm okay. I have a double feeling about this. Guinan, we know she knows a great deal of things, and she's mysterious. So on one hand, I always wondered why they didn't utilize her knowledge more. I think it was only twice with the Calamarain and I think the board where they was like, "Hey, Guinan, what's this?" And
Yeah.
I think both times they ignored her. He was like, "Oh
I
yeah, lead this space immediately." Nah, we gonna look around a little bit, you know. So I think that if they had of utilized her just a little bit more as far as the unknowns and everything like that, or been like, "Hey, Guinan, do you know any places that we can go that's pretty cool?" That would have been a good resource. And on the other hand, though, I'm glad that they didn't, because she would have been like, she could have easily slipped into the fallback, get out of anything trump card, because of the knowledge base that she has. Do you know what I mean?
hmm.
So And that's why I'm happy that during the episode of oh man, I'm surprised I never remember it. Q Who, when he sent them back to the board, that when he asked Picard, hey man, let me be part of your crew. I'm glad that they didn't allow that, because having having Guinan on the ship already, and if you decide to use her, makes the crew kind of OP anyway. But if you have now Guinan and Q, even if he don't use his powers, just their knowledge base together, it
It's
would make
very
it
dangerous.
right, right. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm glad that they have I'm glad that Guinan has that mystery behind her, because I think that if they try to go into Guinan's backstory, they'll mess it up. She'll lose her mystique to me.
Hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean. And in
Mm,
one way, maybe they do that on purpose, that they let her show being Mystique, because um, there are always something to discover. And I think
mm,
they let Guinan show Mystique because also of her knowledge of every species and every, because she is in that way very old, but she had a lot of knowledge.
mhm.
So, and I think in one way, uh, and this is really stupid to say in this way, but they are going to use her when it's only necessary. And I think Guinan, with why she is a good bartender, is that's like her species. She can has a good listening ear, and she gives them. And the fun part is, we always see her as, oh, this lovely woman who is calm and assertive and whatever else more, but she also have her spicy side.
Oh yeah,
You you
yes she
remember
does.
that? You remember that scene when there was a little fight in Ten Forward, and she got that gun out of the bar as she shot it, and said, "Well, shut up. This is my bar, and you don't want to listen. Leave, or I will kick you out."
Yep. Or when she beat Worf easily at the target practice with the phasers.
Oh yeah! Oh my god, that was so funny.
Hmm.
That was
you
so
know,
funny.
yeah, she was always that. Especially how Whoopi Goldberg played her. Just so wise, and just nothing really bothered her, because I got the impression that to her it was all so simple. Like every problem that she ever encountered, no matter if it was with the ship or with individual people, she always viewed it as, oh, this is so simple, man. Look, just try this. Just think about it this way. And everybody's usually all like, oh wow, I never thought about it that way. You know, so
Hmm.
yeah, especially her interactions with Jordy when he was trying to get a date, and you know.
always, I always had a pity for Jordy that he didn't couldn't have a girlfriend or a date, and you know,
Yeah, Poe
but
Jordy. That
he had the greatest techno babble of all.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Him and Data, especially when they got together. Oh,
Oh
it
yeah.
is bring out the dictionary time, because they finna start talking some stuff that's you know you know. Speaking, okay, so they supposed to be bringing Guinan into second season of Picard again. That's what I hear.
Hmm.
Okay, but I wonder. I'm really wondering. One, if season two is gonna be good, and
You
two,
haven't seen season 2 yet?
no, it hasn't premiered yet. It hasn't premiered yet. But I'm I'm looking forward to the old crew, the OGs of the next generation.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to that. But I'm hoping that I'm hoping that they will put her in there a lot better than they did in season one, if she is in season two.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah, Guinan's awesome. So, what is you say your favorite episode with Guinan is Deja Q?
No, not exactly. Well, Guinan has a lot of good episodes, and I can't say that I have a favorite because I enjoy watching them,
Mhm.
especially when she's kicking ass. But it is same like Q. Q also have a great amount of good episodes. So as well in TNG, as in Voyager, as in DS9, and you know, I think, and I'm gonna ask you this question. I have asked this question before. I can't remember if I asked it you, but
Mhm.
if you had the Q powers, what would you do?
If I had Q powers, I would explore reality. Hmm.
Okay, okay.
I would. I would be in a subatomics. I would be in a macro universe. I would be inside suns. I would see the beginnings of civilizations and of life. I would. I have fun.
Okay.
I would also have to endow somebody else or a couple other people with some Q powers so that I won't be by myself and I can have somebody to say, "Hey man, ain't that cool?" And yeah, that.
Hmm. Okay. Nice.
What about you?
Oh, I never thought about that, but I think I will bring humanity back to their basics. Because I
Ah,
think by everything we have, we lost uh, we lost the sight of what is really important in life.
you'll pull a Babylon 5 on humanity. I got you.
Well, the funny part is, I don't know if you um, get that news, but NASA is getting back to the moon, and last Monday they would have launched the rocket, but there was some problems, and now they are going to try it again at Saturday. And when I saw that, I really had to think of Enterprise when the Vulcans were guiding humankind to their first real Star Trek of a Trek um, exploring.
You know what got me? What got me was that they had just created an artificial wormhole. So I was thinking, oh man, Gamma Quadrant, Gamma Delta Quadrant, right around the corner. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated about the advances that that humanity is making, especially when it comes to space exploration and faster than light travel and um, colonizing other worlds and all that kind of stuff. Is It's always something that I'm just like giddy about.
Hmm. So, is there something else you'd like to talk about Q or Guinan?
Well, I think we've covered pretty much everything in canon. Now, if you want to go into books and novels about Guiding that's not really canon, yeah, I'm all for that too.
I must confess I haven't read that much novels. So, and the novels that I have read is the new ones like Picard and Strange New World and Discovery, etc.
Ah,
But
I got you. They have a if you since you like Guidance so much, they have a book where her where she goes and she steals a doomsday weapon from that doomsday machine from the
mm,
original series. Yeah, she
yeah.
goes and steal one of those and decides to take it into Borg space and wage a one woman war against the Borg with the doomsday weapon. Talk about
Okay.
badass. Yeah, talk about badass.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Oh yeah. So what about
But
you? Did you have anything else you want to talk about with Guinan and Q?
well, I do think they're although they're always alert and against each other. I think there's also some kind of a humor between them.
A humor?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Um. Certain things they say, like if Q says something and Guinan says something back in the way of I don't want to say she played his game, but it's more like yeah, two opposite species that yeah, they can. It's like I don't want to say wordplay,
Their
but it is.
banter?
Sorry.
I say their banter, how they go back and forth with each other.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's like
Mhm.
they always have an answer to an answer.
Yeah, when she stabbed him with the fork. Yeah, you say it's pretty human to me. And Q gonna go off. Yeah, man. I don't know why y'all got her on this ship. Y'all crazy, man. Y'all not gonna have me, but her. What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you know, she was always the one who could keep him in line in a way,
hmm
cause
Yep.
he bullied Picard, but he couldn't handle her. And in a one way, it was the same way with Janeway. Janeway was the one who put Q on his number.
hmm Yep.
So
He has never done anything directly at Guinan in all of the series. He has
yeah,
never done anything directly to Guinan. Yep.
yeah. So yeah, in total, I think there are two great characters,
hmm
and because they are so mysterious and in one way, curious, godlike, and but Guinan has also kind of a power, and
Sure.
I think those two characters can bring still a lot in Star Trek.
Yes. Still a lot. Still a lot for both. Well, not Q, but another Q. But I wonder if they're gonna introduce another Q.
I don't know, but maybe there is a. Do you remember the his son Q?
Yeah.
That is his actually son, and I think if they want to have another Q that he already played as well as baby Q as teenager Q. I think if they have another Q, I think maybe they will bring his son back.
Ah, he did play a good Q.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, he did play a good Q, and it'll be a
And
nice
what?
connection, Auntie Kathy.
Yeah, that would be nice connection. But also like what I really loved about the young Q is that after the whole experience with him being human and he had to work twice as hard in a way to gain trust of the crew and Janeway, that he at the end when he got his powers back, that he overload Janeway with roses in her whole quarter, and I was thinking, somebody has gained the lessons. And I thought there was an episode that um, Q want to mess up with the Voyager again, but his son was blocking him. And he said, yeah, you have to stay away from Auntie Cathy because you're going to have to deal with me.
Ah, I got you. I got you. That would be cool. But
Yeah, yeah. A Q with a brain that is also have empathy for the humankind.
And out of all the Q, we've only met one that had empathy like that for humankind. Yep. He was in Voyager and he committed suicide.
Hmm.
Yep. Quinn, I think his human name was Quinn. But yeah, he was a cool Q. The one that went back in time and helped Commander Riker's ancestors and the Woodstock, dude and all that. Yeah,
Oh, I
so I've
can't
always
remember that episode.
really it was a Voyager episode where they had Q had came to stop the other Q from committing suicide, and Captain Janeway was the judge.
Hmm.
Yep. Oh yeah, good episode.
Well, Tommy, I think we covered a lot.
Yes, ma'am. As
So,
always.
it's always good to talk to you about Star Trek.
Yes, ma'am. You too.
Um, yeah, is there something you like to add or just say still?
Oh no, I think we've put on a good show.
Oh yeah, exactly. So I'd like to thank you again for joining me in this episode, and I will hear you soon, I guess, again, because we always have something to talk about Star Trek.
I know it's always great.
It's always great, yeah. So, oh, by the way, something different, guys, but have you seen the first episode of Lower Decks Season 3?
Grounded. Yes, I did. I did. I seen it. Um,
Good.
it was a. I was expecting more from that. I'll put it that way. Maybe they're saving the best for a little bit later, but I was expecting a harder season two opening than what they got. But it was still pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. I must say, the first season of Lower Decks, it was very. There were episodes I didn't understand, also with the humor. But
Mhm.
yeah, season 2 and the beginning of season 3, that caught my eye more than season 1. So who knows what still is going to happen?
I consider Lower Decks um, the Star Trek for people who love Easter eggs and callbacks. If you love Star Trek Easter eggs and references and callbacks, Lower Decks is your show. I like whoever writes Lower Decks spends I would have to say about a good 60% of the time going back looking at Star Trek and just throwing in little tidbits into Lower Decks, and I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you again, Tommy, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Arenda, and have a great one.
Dear listeners, thank you for listening, and join me next time for a new extra episode in the Star Trek series of Aranda Talks. You can listen and subscribe to Aranda Talks on the YouTube channel or join the Facebook group. If you'd like to comment or talk with me about this episode, you can reach out on the Facebook group or the YouTube channel. I also like to tell you about my two other podcasts called Girls Talking Track and Aranda Books Club, Smooth Jazz, Tea and Books. Girls Talking Track. Together with my lovely co-host Amanda, we recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek TNG. All the episodes will be recapped and chronically following. We will approach each episode with humor and a feminine look. Girls Talking Track is also to listen, follow and subscribe on Anchor, Google Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or on all the other podcast providers. We also have a Facebook group and a YouTube channel. Every 10th episode will be a live streaming and a video episode, so you can talk live with us and see our face expression when we talk about the episode. Aranda's Book Club, Smooth Jazz, Tea and Books is a podcast that will discuss books of all genres. You can discuss with me on the YouTube channel and the Facebook group. There will be book readings, events with live discussions. Of course, you can also give me a recommendation what I can read. My perfect picture while reading a book is in front of the fireplace with loads of tea and smooth jazz in the background. So join me, read with me, and discuss with me the books we are reading. I will see you next time.